Your success is in your own hands, and you have the capabilities to be able to build your own destiny. And this is how you make it without a mentor. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. I'm your host, Jade Miliz. Today's episode is very career heavy. If you are new here and don't have a lot of background on myself or the podcast, I am a full-time publicist outside of content creation. I went to a state school for 4 years. I graduated with a bachelor's in integrated marketing communication with a minor in management, and all throughout college, super involved, did a lot of things, did a lot of internships, and was just very much like, these are all the steps I have to take in order to have a career outside of college. Like, at the time, I wanted to be an event planner. And so I was doing everything I could to learn organization skills and learn all of these things. And then I started to learn that PR also does event planning, but I also get to write, and I could work for a brand, and that would be a little bit more marketable versus just being an event planner or working in weddings specifically, which I knew at that point I did not want to do because I didn't want to give up my weekends. It's a little ironic working in PR because PR is PR. You are on the clock if you have to be, and it's a bit of a learning curve. So that is something, as I continue to grow into who I am professionally, I would like to talk to more college students about. In school, they heavily preach that you should have a mentor, that you should build your network. The idea was, as you are growing as a young professional, the goal is to build up your network as much as possible. You want to network with people at companies that you're interested in working at. You want to build your LinkedIn network and get to know people outside of the city you live in, or maybe that are in roles that you are interested in, whatever it is, and just start building your network. And in addition to that, you should have a mentor. And I always searched for mentorship. And if I'm honest, I was constantly disappointed because as they were planting these seeds in our heads, it became very clear to me that mentorship is something that can carry you very far in your career. And it is something that's really important to be able to build foundation to grow as an individual and as a professional. A mentor is someone that guides you through your career, helps you make decisions, helps you weigh pros and cons, maybe is able to also provide feedback to you and help you just overall grow as a person. I think especially as a semi-only child, having mentorship was something that was really important to me because it's not like I had like the big sister advice or someone in my family who worked in a similar career that I was interested in. So having someone who would rally behind me and really stick up for me was something that was super appealing. And I knew that having a mentor who was seasoned in their career and knew what they were doing when it came to business, communication, all of those kinds of things, where I didn't have anyone in my community who was in a similar career path to what I was interested in doing. And so I really struggled to identify like, what are the steps I need to be taking to get myself there? And because I lacked a mentorship, I was honestly really frustrated because I was trying to figure it out all by myself. I didn't have the tools to be able to understand how to get from point A to point B, especially in a small town in Kansas, because there's not a lot of people who are in public relations unless they're in like the internal, things that they have for companies, or especially in fashion or beauty, besides people that I consider peers who are starting to do it on their own, but we're all kind of trying to figure it out and all are kind of lacking in mentorship. So it's like, what do you do when there is no one that can guide you? What do you do when you have to figure it out all on your own? And that's what we're here to talk about today. Your success is in your own hands, and you have the capabilities to be able to build your own destiny. And this is how you make it without a mentor. One of the key things that you can do is make sure you're not shying away from reaching out anyways. This is not an anti-mentor rant. In fact, it's not anti-mentorship at all. I find huge value in mentorship. I just have not had success with it. And so I've had to find alternatives to be able to be successful in my career and as a person. And so this is how I've done it. But I think there's merit in still reaching out and trying to find one anyways. This is where building your network is really important because you can start to send cold outreach, or maybe you have met these people. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone you don't know. You never know what their response is. You never know what their response is going to be. And there's potential that this new conversation and connection could be the launch pad for where you want to go, but you never know until you do it. So send the cold outreach, go to the networking events, and don't be shy to putting yourself out there. It can be really uncomfortable, and I've made a few episodes on how to be a little bit more confident when you're in these settings, but you miss every shot you don't take. So if you are in search of a mentor and there are people that you are interested in mentoring you, reach out anyways. If they say no, they say no, but at least you tried. In either way, things are going to work out exactly how they're supposed to. Okay, so let's say we're not able to secure a mentor. I haven't, you haven't, so here we are. This is where you use research as your superpower. In every step of your career, you should be very knowledgeable about what you're walking into, regardless of what the career is, whether you're a content creator, whether you are in the professional field, whether you are a doctor, especially if you're a doctor. Whatever angle you are coming from, you want to have all of the knowledge possible. If you're applying to jobs, that means knowing all about the company, understanding what the role you're applying for is asking for, what you'd be doing, what is required of you, and the people who work there, especially the people in the department that you would be working in. So this requires maybe some sleuthing. Get to LinkedIn, start looking people up, get on Google, look people up, look up departments. See if there's any boards on Reddit or anything where they're talking about this company. Just understand what the reputation is, who the people that work there, everything you could possibly know about the job you're applying for and potentially could get. So when you come to the interview, you are able to answer questions very thoroughly. You are able to understand maybe even the team dynamic that people have, if they're personable with each other or if you never see them on social media together. Being able to start with a baseline of even just understanding of what's going on before you step into a room and have that conversation makes you a standout candidate. And that is definitely advice that a mentor would give you. So use the research to your advantage. If you know someone that works at the company, start asking questions, see if you can set up a one-on-one. Do as much research and reaching out as you can so you can make yourself stand out in whatever room you are going into. If you're a content creator and you got invited to an event, maybe you start researching who else was invited to the event. What have these events looked like in the past? What should I bring with me? Even asking these questions to the people that are inviting you or the brand that's inviting you. Just having all of the information you possibly can to show up as prepared as possible will always help you in the long run. Now, as we're trying to make it without a mentor, it is so important to be confident and self-assured. I know this is easier said than done, but you should know what you want out of your career. When you think about 5 years, 10 years from now, right now, and the decisions that you are making and things you are doing are contributing to that larger goal. If you don't have a basic understanding of where you want to go in the future, right now is just going to feel like you're doing shit just to do it. Understand what you want out of your career. Going back to content creation, is that followers or is that a national brand campaign? What is your North Star? What is it that you want to achieve and be known for? If you're working in a professional field like comms or PR, is it working with a celebrity? Is it climbing the corporate ladder? Is there a baseline salary you're trying to hit? What is it that you want? You have to figure it out. And once you do, that'll give you a better idea of where you need to be. What are the rooms you need to be in? Who are the people you need to be speaking to? What are the connections you need to be building over these next few years so you can start to hit that goal? And also being able to identify the kind of work you don't want to do. This does require you to do the things that you don't want to do at some point, but you quickly learn what you do and don't want to do, or what boundaries you want to put in place as a professional, as a content creator. I know there's a lot of influencers who delete comments if they are not favorable or uncomfortable or hateful. because they can, because that's a boundary that they set. There are certain boundaries you are able to set also in your career that make you more comfortable and confident, self-assured in being exactly who you are. As you build a name for yourself without a mentor, you are vouching for yourself. This requires you to be the best in the room. If we're being honest, it's an opportunity to be able to prove your worth. This is an opportunity to prove yourself and show that no one else can do it better than you. If it's the best assistant in the world, you better be the best assistant in the world. You better be the best at it. I personally am not an advocate for doing work you're not getting paid for. Simple as that. Okay? I think it's really important to have good boundaries, have a good work-life balance, and get paid for the work that you're doing. However, in that same breath, as you are building your career, there are certain times where you should be going above and beyond to prove yourself. And this is an opportunity not to do right by the company or do right by the platform you're posting on. It's an opportunity for yourself. You're creating that cushion for yourself to show, I'm the best, you can trust me, and the more I do this thing, the more of a value I am to you, so I can start hitting the goals that I want to do. You often hear people say, be the first in and last to leave when it comes to like office etiquette. Again, I don't subscribe to doing work that you are not being paid for. If you're not paying me overtime to stay extra hours, that's not my first instinct. At the same time, if you put me on a project that I'm responsible for, I'm going to do the best job I possibly can on it, regardless if it's within the parameters of my 9 to 5. So that's where it's like you start to weigh your pros and cons of how does this make me, personally me, look? How do I show up as the best version of myself so I can achieve the goals that I set out for? So I think the best way to frame this is thinking about it from the perspective of, if I put this thing in my portfolio, how would I want it to be explained and how would I demonstrate the role I played in it? It's like a group project in school. And to a certain extent, you can decide how much you actually contribute to the group project. At the end of the day, when you go to present with your group, it's going to be very obvious who played the biggest role. So if you're in a group and they're pinpointing, okay, who did the best on this project, you want it to be you. You want your work and what you're doing to show for it. That is going to be a great way to advocate for yourself, especially without a mentor, because you are building that cushion to be able to launch yourself up in the future. So weigh your pros and cons there. Don't just do extra work for the sake of doing extra work, but do things intentionally so you can start to build that reputation of being the best and being the go-to. Last thing that's so important is you are your own mentor. So be your own mentor. I spent so many years being disappointed and frustrated about the fact that I did not have a mentor in the traditional sense. I didn't have someone I was meeting with that was walking me through how to apply to jobs or what I should be doing to contribute to building my professional development outside of my job, or how do I do both? How do I balance content creation and being a full-time job person? I needed guidance and I was frustrated that I didn't receive it. But you have an opportunity to be your own mentor and create your own destiny. So this is an exercise for yourself to be able to identify how you can be your own mentor. If you want to think of someone with a similar career path to the direction you're heading in, for me, that is always Issa Rae. I really admire the way she shows up authentically. There's a few other media women that I really admire from a different perspective, but combined all together, I have a general idea of what steps I could follow because I'm watching them as mentors. Even though I'm not having conversations with them, they are in a way shaping the future that I'm trying to build for myself. So once you have an idea of who that person, who those people are, think about some of the advice that they would give you. So you can start to watch some of their interviews, some of their TED Talks, things that they are doing in their career that would lend themselves to you. What is relevant to you? What interviews, what quotes, what shows can you pull from that really help you stay motivated? So you definitely want to take some notes of what they're talking about, what they're saying, how they're showing up authentically in their careers, and what areas you could do something similar. Another way that you can be a great mentor to yourself is making sure you are tracking your progress and doing regular check-ins. You obviously need to start somewhere when it comes to tracking your progress. So I highly suggest setting goals and spending time thinking through where you want to take your career and what that means for you, and then starting to track your progress against that. For example, like in PR, you want to build 5 media contacts that you have really good relationships with by the end of the year. Then that's what you start to do. You start to track against whatever you have going on so you can start building yourself up as a professional. If you're in content creation and it's hitting a certain number of followers, then start tracking your progress. Start really looking at what your analytics are on a month-to-month basis, and maybe even putting that like in a Notion template where you are writing out and you can visually see, okay, this month my impressions went up, this month my reach went down. Really starting to see the numerical progress behind why things are happening and where you can maybe improve for the future would be really helpful. It's something you would definitely sit down and talk through with a mentor. You would definitely share like things that are going well, areas you need more help in. So being able to identify maybe where things aren't going as great as you had hoped is really helpful for you to start making those adjustments and improve. You really want to advocate for yourself. Not want to, you have to. You need to be advocating for yourself. No one else is going to do it. That is one thing I have learned post-grad that felt a bit like a shock to me, because they always said in high school, no one holds your hand in college. That wasn't true. But really, once you're post-grad, like, you are on your own. You have to figure it out. There's no one there to save you. And if you are not advocating for yourself, you are not going to get what you need. You are not going to get what you want. You will just be stuck in the same place. So you absolutely have to advocate for yourself. This goes back to making sure you are confident and understand and know what you want out of your career. But if you are not getting what you want out of it, you need to say something. This includes asking for a raise, being proactive to look for a new job, seeking out opportunities for yourself, anything under the sun that you feel like is going to improve your position or get you where you need and want to be. It's exactly what you need to be doing. Advocate for yourself, point blank, period. If you're not advocating for yourself, you're never going to get it. Like, and that's on you. It's uncomfortable, it can be challenging, but you have to work up the confidence to be able to advocate for yourself regardless of the scenario. This goes in life too, period. Like, advocate for yourself. Do not be a doormat, advocate for yourself. So as nice as it is to have a mentor, no one is going to be able to do it better than you can for yourself. You can make it happen for yourself, so stop wallowing in what should be and start building your own destiny.